How's it going, guys? It has been a little while since I posted a moto vlog, and that is because I've got a new bike. The Yamaha R3 is no more, sadly to say. I wanted to keep it, but Doc Tech Mom said that I could only have one bike. So I had to get rid of it, and I'm a little sad about it, to be honest. We'll talk about that here in the vlog. But this is the 2016 FZ09. Freaking love this bike. I've had it for 2 weeks now. I've only actually been able to ride it for a week because one problem that I had with it, I went to change the oil at the 600 mile mark. It's had about 675 miles on it now, and the oil filter was cross-threaded from the factory, so I couldn't get the oil filter off, and so I had to take it into the shop, and they had to order a new stem on it, which you screw the oil filter onto, because that one was destroyed. And so they ordered that part, and it took about a week. So I've only had this back for like a day and a half. So, but I love this bike. It's just awesome, and it's about 103 degrees outside right now, and I'm fully decked out. So I'm gonna get on and ride while I'm talking, just because it's too dang hot to be standing around without a breeze. So let's fire this mug up. All right, so I want you guys to listen to this because I'm actually, so my thermometer says 108. I don't think it's that hot, but I want you guys to hear the exhaust, because I'm going to be actually tonight changing the exhaust. I'm going to be installing a new exhaust on it. So listen to it as it starts up. It's really quiet, if you guys can hear, really quiet. There's a little bit of engine noise you can hear. It sounds like, I've had it described like the Jetsons car, you know, like the little hovercraft that the Jetsons have. For those of you guys that are old enough to know who the Jetsons are, it sounds like the Jetsons. It's pretty funny, actually. So anyway, the only mods I've done so far to the bike is just put on this this Pewegg sport screen, and I've put on some frame sliders. That's it. But we're going to be doing some other mods to it, namely, again, like I said, the exhaust. But let's get going here, because it's pretty warm. So, like I said, I've got about 650 miles on this bike now, and those are commuter miles. I put on quite a bit of miles because I commute back and forth to work on my motorcycles. So I put a bunch of miles on my bikes, and I've got to say that I really miss the R3 for commuting. I mean, that bike is such a nice bike to ride. It's so easy to ride in traffic. You know, stop and go traffic on the R3 is just a breeze. This one has a heavier clutch. It's got a little higher center of gravity, so you have to balance it a little bit more carefully when you come up on low speed. When you're coming up on a stop, things like that. So it's got a taller first gear, so you have to slip the clutch a little bit more when you're taking off. Just little things like that, right? That makes commuting, makes a lot of stop and go traffic in city a little less convenient. So I miss the R3, I really do, on that, because the R3 had such a light clutch. It had a really short first gear, so you know, it was easy to roll on with it. I mean, just really cool. And you know, the lack of power on the R3 is actually a plus to some degree, because you don't really have to worry about, you know, if you peg the throttle, you don't really have to worry about it being overly unruly. And so it was just a really nice bike to commute on. And even on the freeway, you know, 80 miles an hour on that bike was no problem whatsoever. And the seating position on that bike was really nice and relaxed, upright. So it was just a really nice bike to ride, and I miss it a lot. Okay, so why did I get rid of the R3? Well, there was a couple drawbacks to the R3. One, in the area that I live, which is in the west, there's a lot of open space, right? So, I mean, if you want to go places other than just in the city, there's a lot of like high speed limit freeways and high speed limit, you know, like highways, right? And there's a lot of distance between things. And so if I wanted to, you know, like go visit some family that's an hour and a half away on the freeway, 80 miles an hour on that bike is just, it just beats the bike up. I mean, it's totally capable of highway speeds, okay? Don't get me wrong. However, you know, like at 80 miles an hour, you're doing like 400 RPM in that thing. And I just felt like I was just beating the crap out of the engine, keeping the revs that high for that long. And so, you know, long distance commuting on that bike, like, you know, long distance riding on that bike, not that it was uncomfortable, but it just wasn't suited for just, you know, being wrapped out for a really long time. And the other thing is, Doc Tac Mom was just not as comfortable on the back of that bike for longer trips. So we'd go like, you know, for like an hour and a half, and that was about the max. I mean, she could not go much longer on the back of that bike. You know, if we wanted to go, you know, like on a destination trip, you know, just to go have dinner or something like that, you know, she just didn't want to be on the back of that thing for that long. So the main reason, right, number one reason I got rid of the R3 is because I wanted to do longer distance trips, and the R3 just is not suited for that as much. Now, if I was a single guy and I didn't want to take my wife with me, you know, and I lived back east where, you know, the speed limits were like generally like 65 miles an hour, dude, there's no way I'd gotten rid of the R3. It's completely suited for that. But, you know, like on a highway that's 80 miles an hour, you know, it's not set up for it as much. But other than that, I love the bike. I mean, the lack of acceleration and speed for me wasn't the biggest issue, right? Because, you know, to me it was plenty thrilling. There was plenty enough power to be fun, to get up out of the way in traffic. You know, no problems whatsoever that way, right? It was fun in the twisties, and just nimble as heck, and just a lot of fun to drive. A lot of fun to ride. And so yeah, I mean, I actually, when the guy that bought my bike rode away with it, I was actually pretty sad. Actually, like, you know, and I'm not a sentimental guy. Like, I'm not sentimental about stuff at all. Like, I mean, for those of you guys that know me, know that like I've sold guns that, you know, like other people would be like, no way, I'd never sell an heirloom gun, you know. I'm like, it's just a gun. It's just a thing, you know. And so generally I don't attach emotions to things, but that little R3 I really liked, and guys, I still recommend it. Oh my gosh, it's such a fun bike. And again, you see a lot of these guys that ride larger CC bikes switching over to the R3, the 300 level class, because they're such fun bikes to ride. They are really fun, and I stand by that. I still think that it's an amazing bike. Yamaha has done just such a good job on that R3. So yeah, and you know, it is fun. It is fun having a bike like this. FC09 is just a maniac, man. It is. It's freaking crazy power. Total hooligan machine. Everybody that's ever watched a review on the FC09, that's what everybody says. It's just a hooligan machine, and they're right. It is. It's crazy. And yeah, I mean, the power's here, the torque is just on it all the time. One of the things I do like about this bike is no matter what gear I'm in, or no matter what RPM I'm at, I have power. There's just power to spare for sure, and I love it. So 100 degrees is what my thermometer's saying. Jeez, it is. It's a toasty bugger out here. All right, let's give us a little acceleration here. There's our 60 count. Now I gotta slow down. This thing's crazy, man. This bike is just insane. There's so much power. If you noticed, I was about 45%, 50% throttle on that first gear, just because if I don't stay underneath that, the front wheel just comes right up on this thing. It's crazy. Second gear, I can pretty well peg it if I do a slow roll on. If I drop that clutch at all from first to second, or roll on it snappy, it'll bring that front tire up again in second gear. So it's pretty nuts. I'm in standard mode right now, so there's 3 different modes. This is kind of just a good riding mode. But so yeah, so I sell the bike, I sell the R3 so I can get this bike, so Doc Tac Mom will be more comfortable in distance and riding, and she's not even been on it. I mean, literally, I've had it for 2 weeks and she's not even, she sat on it with me, but just in the garage, but she's actually not been on a ride at all with me yet. So that's gonna change. I gotta make some time. We've been so crazy busy. It's been nuts. I was out of the country. She's been out of the country for like 2 weeks, and I was out of the country for like 6 days. Someone has to work to fund the trip, right? And so yeah, and I bought this actually while she was out of the country. I should have just kept the R3. I could have parked it somewhere and kept it at somebody's house. She would have never known. Nah, she totally would have. So the FC09 is an 847cc triple that is very quiet. As you can see, I don't even know if you guys can hear the bike. When I've got the throttle wide open, the intake, the sound of the intake on this bike is just intoxicating. It is so awesome. It just has a howl to it, you know, and it sounds really good. The exhaust is utterly quiet. It's so quiet, overly quiet, which is why I'm going to be putting a new exhaust on it tonight. I'm going to be putting on the M4 slip-on. Why the M4? Because it's the cheapest. Because it sounds awesome and it's cheap compared to everything else out there. It's the bang for the buck, so why not? It's what everybody puts on, it seems like, but it's half the price of all the competitors, so yeah, that's why. Yep. Hope that's not a police officer behind me. Whew. So yeah, so I'm not really going to get into reviewing the FC09. I'm gonna keep that to a separate video. But suffice it to say, this thing is awesome. I love it. Am I disappointed with it? Do I wish I would have kept the R3 over this? Heck no. This thing is awesome. I mean, where it excels in other things, the R3 was as a better commuter bike, better for around the town riding. But this is better in the canyons. It's better in straight line. I mean, man, this thing just hauls balls no matter what, and no matter what gear I'm in, it's just crazy power all the time, torque out the yin yang. And you know, to be honest, I don't even keep this thing at a high RPM. I don't wrap this thing out at all, really. I mean, there's no need to. I can shift, and it just hauls like a freight train. So way cool. And I love the looks of it. I had to get a windscreen just because, you know, when I'm on the freeway, it keeps the pressure off my chest, and it actually knocks the wind out right to about my chin level. So that's perfect for me. I still get the wind in my helmet to keep me cool, but I'm not getting blown off the back of the bike now, like I felt like I have in the past with this. So that's it. Just a quick little video, a little intro to the FC09 that you guys are going to be seeing from now on the Moto Vlogs that I'm going to be doing. Will there be other bikes? Yeah, I'm sure there will be. But for right now, the FC09 2016 is what you're going to be seeing. And I literally picked this bike up from the dealership, Escape Motorsports down in Provo. Bought it brand new, 0 miles on it. So this thing was crisp. And right now, let's see what we're at. 722 miles. So that's pretty good. I've had it, like I said, for right at about 2 weeks now. Not quite 2 weeks. So that's a lot of miles in 2 weeks. but I'm always like getting out and riding it. I've already tuned the suspension to me. That's something we'll talk about in the review. But I like getting it out, getting it set up for me, and getting some miles on it, and getting that initial break-in period over with, that first oil change at 600 miles. Because once I really don't feel like I want to beat the bike up before that, you know. And so I like to take it easy those first 600 miles and get those 600 miles out of the way, so then I can kind of feel a little bit more free to romp the bike. So, all right, guys. Well, getting on the freeway here, and so I'll let you go. Just a quick little video talking about why I got rid of the R3 for the FC09. And like I said, guys, I really miss my R3, but this bike is so much fun that I don't miss it that much. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, subscribing, and liking the video. We'll see you next time. Later.